What's going on, guys? Maelstrom here with some Archazia's Island Day 1 deck lists. Archazia's Island has just come out and all of us are excited to see how this set impacts the metagame. There are quite a few new tools that can help out existing decks and potential for some new archetypes to break through. Here are a few deck ideas we've come up with so far for the new set.
Sailor here to talk to you about the new iteration of Ruby Sapphire. So far, going into Archazia's Island, I have worked on two different archetypes based around Sapphire Coil and the new Tamatoa Happy as a Clan.
Because I'm beautiful, baby.
The first one is a regular Sisu on Ice with Maui Half Shark from Azurite Sea, along with the Pirate's Life. It plays very similarly to the old list, but now that the ice block don't have to be put in the deck, we can have a little bit more space for small Sisus again, which will work even better with the introduction of the Sapphire Coils. This deck plays very similarly. It don't have any of the 8-drop Tamatoas or the 9-drop Maleficents and replaces them with cheaper options that are the other new Tamatoa. Very exciting. The Medusas are back and the small Sisu to be able to take out pretty much all characters as long as you have a Sapphire Coil or two, or that you've been able to ink multiple times in a turn, because yes, you can activate it multiple times with either through regular ink, Tipo, Sail, or Half-Alga. So this deck is a blast to play. It still has the beloved Shark in it. That makes it so that it's pretty hard for Aggro to be winning against you because you have so many tools to fight them, but also you have the Pirate's Life to take back some of that lore that they can gain and basically deny their reach potential.
Oh, the life of a pirate for me.
The second build, I'm going to talk a little bit later because it's not quite ready, but I wanted to just tease a little bit and say that there's also an item version that could be pretty good with the new cards and the new Tamatoa. Pretty excited to dive into the Archazia's Island metagame. See you next time.
What's up, Illumineers? It's your boy, Humble. My Day 1 deck list is of course none other than Lilyfasa. As you feast your eyes upon this list, notice that Archazia's Island hasn't given us much to play with, but this innocuous little soldier was just the one drop we needed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Jack!
You may also notice the swap of Pongo, devoted father, to Julieta Madrigal, excellent cook. Juliet has been overperforming in my testing thus far, but we could see Pongo reclaim his spot if the meta shifts lean towards slower and more drawn out games. We have increased the chances of seeing our combo pieces by finally maxing out on Raya, Kumanjan Rider. This makes our Gaston combos even more consistent, which will help with casting our suite of top-end characters. With maximum copies of Maleficent Monstrous Dragon and Lady Tremaine, Imperious Queen, we have the necessary tools to deal with those pesky sharks and crabs that will likely be everywhere. Sisu, Empowered Sibling, and Goofy, Super Goof, while very good into the aggressive and more mid-rangey decks, are the current flex spots, and I am testing out different cards in those slots and encourage anyone playing this deck to try them as flex spots as well. Remember, this deck isn't always as straightforward as it looks, but if you put in the time, the king shall reward the faithful. Happy moofing.
Wonderland here, and I'm going to tell you about something wonderful. And that is that there's a new set dropping, and a lot of people are going to be trying to brew new decks with it, and I'm going to show you a way to punish those people for trying to have fun.
No, please! Oh, you can't do this, you just can't! Let me out! You must let me out! You can't keep me in here!
And that is to just turn little questers sideways and gain as much lore as you can as quickly as you can. We're going to be using the new Lady Miss Park Avenue. She's going to grab 2 characters from her discard pile when she comes into play, and she can shift for 3. She's going to maintain a lot of velocity for us, and we're also going to use Clarabelle and Rapunzel to also kind of refill our hands after we throw everything down and try to quest as much as we can. We have Clarabelle to try to deal with some pesky coils that everyone's quite afraid of currently. We're using Morph to take advantage of the Lady and the Clarabelle for shift lines, and its secret third amazing mode of inking for our curve, so we can just constantly put out threats. And speaking of curve, the ability to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, and then drop the new Tramp Street Smart Dog is like quite powerful. It will let us draw 3 cards, discard 3, and that sets us up to then play the Lady on curve the next turn to get back those cards we discarded. It's just pure advantage. It's quite good. Lady also has a few other targets that we're playing here to get maximum value out of Ursula or Gazelle or Simba, or even if we're just gonna buy back some high lore in a Go-Go or just a couple early questers. If turning things sideways makes your tail wag, then you will love this deck.
Hey guys, Xenulous bringing you my day 1 list for Amethyst Steel and Archazia's Island. The 2 cards I'm most excited for in this ink combination are Giant Cobra, Ghostly Serpent, and the Queen, Jealous Beauty. This list is a little more low to the ground, utilizing tools like Dock, Bold Knight, and the Library, a gift for Belle, to keep our hand healthy and allowing us to keep constant pressure on our opponent. I did include Strength of a Raging Fire as a solid removal tool, but really we want to keep our characters gaining lore as much as possible.
I'm going on an adventure!
We already had a lot of uninteractable lore gain in Amethyst, but I think the 2 new cards I mentioned are going to push it over the top. Giant Cobra has a new keyword, Banish, meaning when it is targeted by any action card, it gets banished immediately. While this sounds like a downside, its second ability, which allows you to gain 2 lore by discarding a card, gives us a lot more explosive lore gain while still having the good old goat bounce goat finisher to lean on. The Queen also turns into a must-answer threat, essentially questing for 3 while being able to bottom cards from your Ruby Sapphire opponents to shut off things like Maui Shark and Tamatoa, and even taking away some aggressive options like Lilo, Carefree Surfer, from Amber Steel opponents. While it does require your opponent to have 3 cards in their discard to use her ability, by the time she hits the board, that condition could be met pretty easily. I think these 2 additions alone give this ink combination a huge boost and will make it a top contender moving into this set.
Hey there everybody, it's Bannibal here, and although Sapphire got a ton of support in this new set, which has me a little bit concerned about the prospects of playing an aggro deck, I'm going to give it a shot anyway, and the 2 aggro cards I was most excited to play from this new set are Shere Khan, and This Is My Family. Shere Khan is a 4/4/4 for 4.
A what? A fo-fo-fo.
A fo-fo-fo. Fo-fo-fo.
Which is also uninkable and has the big downside of you have to discard your whole hand when you play it. Now, this is a very, very aggressive card, and if you can empty your hand before you play Shere Khan, it's going to be very, very strong. So it pairs very well with a low curve like we have here. This Is My Family is a song that costs 2, is also uninkable, and gains 1 lore, draws a card. And I like this. It's just a nice bit of reach, but it also replaces itself. When I've played Gather Knowledge and Wisdom in the past, it's a pretty good card, especially in the end game, but it can feel really bad if you draw multiples of it or if you don't get a really good start and you're just basically spending a card to do not much of value, but at least This Is My Family draws a card. One cool thing about playing Amethyst Emerald that I wanted to try is that, of course, you have access to 2 different 1-drop Diablos, which, well, more if you really wanted to, but I'm playing a total of 6 here, and that makes it much easier to shift this 3-drop Diablo if you have a sufficient number of songs. And beyond that, I've just got a pile of 1-drops, all 12 of the Amethyst 1-drops that replace themselves, 4 Pegasus with 2 big Pegasus you can potentially shift on it, 2 Bonsai. I would have liked to play more Bonsai, but there's only so many uninkables you can fit in a deck. We've got a good amount of reach in the form of 4 Go-Go and 4 Merlin, as well as the aforementioned This Is My Family. Some disruption in the form of Cloud Kicker, Ursula Deceiver, and 4 Befuddle, as well as 2 Mother Knows Best. Yeah, beyond that, I feel like there's not too much that's surprising here. It's just an aggressive Emerald Amethyst deck, and I'm excited to give it a shot.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy RMB, aka the Magnificent Bald, back at it again with a new Sapphire Steel Zoolander wheel list. We got some major upgrades in Archazia's Island that I'm so excited to play. You'll notice we've got 2 new inclusions from Archazia's Island, a couple of returning gems from previous iterations, and even some new tools once overlooked in previous versions. Our 2 new powerhouse cards from Archazia's Island are Belle, Apprentice Inventor, and Tamatoa, Happy as a Clam. Belle is, in my opinion, the best card overall out of set 7. Effectively, a Cinderella Ballroom sensation on turn 1 with a much better stat line. We no longer need to run 1-drops like Captain Hook just to maintain early board control thanks to this new Belle. While we aren't using her for the 3-drop on turn 1 to enable singing removal songs like Let the Storm Rage On or Strength of a Raging Fire, a turn 1 3/3 does just a fine job at trading effectively into opposing boards or preventing them from exerting altogether. Tamatoa, Happy as a Clam, is a value-packed bomb I didn't know I needed.
The best thing I never knew I needed.
Coming in at only 6 cost and inkable, we can effectively play him as early as turn 4. Rebuying 2 1-drop cantrip items enables significantly more consistent draw, ensuring our hand can stay full of resources to use at our disposal. As if that already wasn't a good enough reason to play Mr. Shiny himself, on quest you can play an item from your hand for free. Now, I'm no mathematician, but on turn 5 getting to play free dime seems pretty neato burrito to me.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Tommy 6 may become the reason Tommy 8 ends up getting cut from the list altogether in favor of a 3rd aerial. Now, threats are becoming better, and more of them are requiring immediate answer. And one of the best point-and-click removal tools we've ever leveraged in the past has finally made his way back into the deck. Hades Infernal Schemer, one of my favorite set 1 cards. Opposing Tommies got you down? Hades them. Big scary sharks plaguing the skies? Hades them. Giant Cinderellas staring menacingly at your upright Cogsworth? Hades them.
Course.
Hades them.
Genius. Why didn't I think of that?
Lastly, I've been testing Twin Fire out over Fire the Cannons, and let's just say, this card can be a massive blowout. Because of the on-play ability from Tommy 6, pitching an item in your hand like, say, a Lucky Dime, extends your hand resources to the discard pile while leveraging the additional effect of Twin Fire. Leading with a Bell on turn 1 into Twin Fire on 2 to hit a Daisy and a Piglet never felt so good. Now, this is just one of the many different build paths of Sapphire Steel Archasia's Island supports that I myself cannot wait to try out on March 7th after release.
I mean, well, as is tradition, I've got one more. Put on your raincoats and make sure you have some sandbags ready, because the Maelstrom has brought a flood. That's right, Emerald Sapphire Floodborn is splashing onto the scene, and I present you with none other than Bay Maximum Value. This list has been showing some impressive results against Ruby Sapphire and Sapphire Steel, which are 2 of the most anticipated decks heading into this new meta. There is a small weakness to the Amber Steel Song decks of old, but I am in hopes that the Ruby Sapphire Apex Predator will make that deck less desirable to play. Archazia's Island really brought a lot of tools to make this deck possible. First of all, being the deck's namesake, Baymax, Giant Robot. Boasting a new shift mechanic with Universal Shift gives us a ton of playable lines as early as turn 3. The boss of the deck is Hiro Hamada, Armor Designer. Being able to give your shifted characters evasive and ward is massive. Not only that, the fact he is able to give himself those keywords also makes this card even more crazy. Rounding out the newest powerhouses is Ink Geyser. Being able to keep your control opponents on lower ink totals while using Clarabelle to draw a ton of cards after resetting their inkwell feels quite amazing. Ink Geyser has little drawback for us, as we are able to reach 5 ink again on the following turn, and shift into most of our threats. Morph Space Goo finally gets to reach his full potential here, as we have so many quality shift lines. Being that we are ramping onto, we have a nice suite of 4-cost cards to play early in Scrooge McDuck and McDuck Manor. We finally see Basil get a little bit of love, and I've even added 1 copy of the Basil from set 2 to help us draw some cards if we need. And we couldn't possibly play a Floodborn deck in Emerald without the bird. Diablo makes an appearance as our early draw engine, and it is still as powerful as ever. This is a deck I'm really excited to play moving forward, and I hope you all are ready for the flood.
That's it for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed the deck lists. As the meta progresses, we will be updating these lists in our Discord every week, so check us out over there. Like and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps us out, and we'll see you in the next one.